one more. Alright. Hello, YouTube. Skunk back with another review. So, we are playing against Skred Red. Of course, we won't know that when we see our first hand, but we'll find out very quickly that we are playing Skred Red. Because they play very unique cards that are very unique to their deck, and it's very easy to spot if you know what to look for. So anyway, I do the reviews not for just myself, not for just you guys, but also myself. I would normally do this stuff and review my games, once a couple times a week to get better at the game, to go back and look at my faults, my misplays, how I can get better at this game, and I also encourage you to do the same. So let's get started. So we see a very land heavy hand, but we have a Blossom and a Snare. So we're on the play Darkslake. This is kind of a hope you draw gas kind of hand. Like, we got a Blossom. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, but a lot of things that can go right here too. We can we're not worried about casting things on Curve, so all we have to do is draw the gas. If we draw 3 lands, we're probably going to lose no matter what the matchup is. But we have to hope that our deck construction is correct and that our deck will provide for us. So we have an engine to win and a spell snare to kind of keep them at bay. For the meantime, we are playing a Faerie controls list, so we're not looking to be super fast, but we still want tempo. We want to be able to end the game in a good fashion. So our first indication this is Skred Red is the snow-covered mountain. Okay, always. This will always indicate Skred Red. This, we don't necessarily know why he's playing this right up front, but soon will be revealed. So this is a good card. This is a good card for Graveyard Hate, and actually very relevant now with Scam and things like that. And as you look at it, this card, or this deck, is actually set up to beat Scam all the time. So they're actually playing, I'm pretty sure they're playing 8 exile effects from graveyards. So, but that's yet to be seen. So, but he's hating the meta pretty hard. So this is a really good draw. We got Spellsetter Sprite after the Blossom comes down, so we slam Blossom without a question, no hesitation there. So land 2. So if you guys aren't familiar with Skred deals damage to a creature equal to the amount of snow permanents you have. So for 1 red. So that's what Skred does. And so that's the main thing. So we're not worried about Skred itself. What we're worried about is other big things, because he's playing mono red. Okay, so he's probably playing Blood Moon. He's probably playing these hate cards for the meta. And these meta decks come out every once in a while to try to balance the meta. And this is one thing I really like about Skred Red and Blood Moon decks and Blue Moon and Merfolk, things that mess with your mana. He keeps Tron in check. He keeps Jund in check, because these decks that run with these very, very precise mana bases don't run. You take their mana away, you take their efficiency away, and basically you make them play fair magic. Even though Jund is the most, fair magic all the way, you make them play more of a fair magic game, and what they do is they come back and they're slower, turn slower. That turn 2 slower is just enough for Skred Red to be able to deal with whatever threat they throw down, whether it be a Tarmogoyf, whether it be this, because Skred is a scaling card. As the game goes longer, Skred does more damage to target creature or whatnot. So, and then they have Planeswalkers and everything, and you'll see the utility in the deck. But they're trying to prey on the meta decks. meta decks that we're not. So it doesn't prey on us very well, but it does have its caveats, and it's kind of tough to pilot sometimes, especially if you don't get ahead. This turn 2 Bitter Blossom into Spellstar Sprite really makes us happy, and the fact we can snare something along the way. So, scrying sheets, okay, look at the top card of the library. If it's snow, you reveal it, put it in your hand. It's just card advantage. It's very good. Basically getting lands in here. He's playing Eternal Scourge. Now, this thing exiles itself if you target it, and then you can play it from exile. So it basically never goes to your graveyard unless you counter it. So, and that's what we're going to do here. But it's funny, and you see the engine here is exile target card from a graveyard. Well, guess what he's going to exile? So, and you got it. He's going to exile this and then play it. So it's kind of like this reoccurring, you know, he's going to constantly have pressure, constantly have everything going on. But the one thing he can't account for is this thing doesn't have trample. It doesn't have anything. It can't get through an active Bitter Blossom, basically. And you're going to see this very shortly. March to the Rush of Sorrow. So we attack. So, and then he does exactly what you thought he was going to do. He exiles it, and then he replays it. Yep. So, we can play with this in combat, okay? Because anytime it becomes a target, it exiles itself. So, we can just target it nonchalantly. We can pay 1 to this, because it'll never hit. This will never resolve. It'll get countered, but his creature will go into exile. So he has to cast it again, and he can't cast it at instant speed. It's still sorcery speed, so we're not too worried about it. But he has to play around that as well. So we're already ahead of him because we're doing 3 damage a turn. So we have blockers. He Galv Blast this. So Galv Blast was not turned on because he doesn't have enough artifacts. So he did that just so he can attack, because he knows that he has to kill us like quickly or it doesn't work. Brazen Borrower to this is just not good. This is my knowledge of the deck. I'm going to play the long game. I'm going to keep blocking this as long as possible. I'm not going to use this because this can take out Planeswalkers, and I know he plays Planeswalkers like Koth in there, and Koth by itself isn't horrible, but it can give him a boost of mana that he can do dumb stuff with. So we also were playing basics. We got basics out, so we're not too worried about Blood Moon at this point. We can cast pretty much anything in the deck. He does the same play. So he then does this Frostwalk Bastion, which turns into a 2/3 construct artifact creature, and then if it's blocked by a creature, it taps that creature and can't be untapped. So pretty cool land. Not a bad creature for 2. It's, you know, but it's not the best thing in the world. So we are going to take this opportunity to gain some life. We're going to march this thing. We're going to hold up Spell Snare while we're at it, and just get rid of the man land. We don't care so much about this, but and then he Blood Moons. So the reason we're not worried about him Blood Mooning is because I can just bounce it to his hand whenever I want. So we're not worried about it. So we're in control the whole time. Fatal Push, also, you don't have to... This can still target things. It just won't kill it if you don't revolt, if it's over 2 mana cost. So it's really nice to know that I can just shove this towards that and exile it whenever I want for 1 mana. I don't even have to have revolt going on. Obviously, I have to have the black mana going, but whenever I want, I got that taken care of. And whenever I want, I can just get rid of it. So we're just going to keep outpacing him because we're winning this race. And especially, he's had to keep 2 cards for a Faerie token. So we'll take that trade all day. So in the resource game, he's traded 2 cards for 2 Faerie tokens, and so we're very happy about that. So he did that. We throw it because we're gonna win in 3 turns. He bolts that. So he takes us off a turn, but we have Borrower with Snapcaster. We have plenty of things to do. He then Karns, which is what I thought. I knew he was playing Planeswalkers, so that's why March was so good. He grabs Liquid Meta Coating. Now this is one of the biggest things Spellslinger is here for. It's because Liquid Metal Coating is so good against control decks. And what are we? We're a control deck, right? You know. So we bounce the Blood Moon to get our mana back for a turn. So we know we can't counter on the way back, but we know we want to play the Borrower because we want to kill him in 2 turns. Or at least kill the Karn and kill this. Because we know we can kill the Liquid Metal Coating. And we don't care about Blood Moon anyway, because we can just play Faerie Mastermind or the Snapcaster, all of the above. We can Fatal Push this. We're in the driver's seat here. We're happy here. So get rid of Karn. He then exiles our stuff. Yep, we continue to block. And this is another game where a turn to resolve Bitter Blossom. Now, obviously, he's playing red, so the fact that he's going to have artifact removal and possibly something else to get rid of this is pretty high. But this is just one of those things that active Bitter Blossom will win most of the time. So he Chandras. He doesn't care about hitting this because he's going to nuke everything with the -2 ability. So he clears the board, but we just re-outer board. And this is the thing about being instant speed, and we don't care about this. We just care about damage. We're going to attack the Chandra. He's tapped out. So we're going to take out Chandra. And now all of a sudden we went from nothing to something, and so his big board wipe, and then we're right back at it. You know, we're super happy where this is at. Super happy. So, yep, he plays a second Scourge. We're fine. And now this is the fun part about we don't need Revolt to target these things. We Fatal Push, then we snap, Fatal Push the other one. He's tapped out. We win the game. Even if he draws a card, we draw off that, and then he concedes. So, and rightfully so. So, you have to, when you see these cards, you have to really understand what they're trying to do, how they're going to recur. You're never going to kill this unless you have a damnation in board or a board wipe. You're never going to kill this. And even if you do kill this, they have ways to exile it to then bring it back anyway. And that's the engine to the deck. So on to game 2. Alright. So we see a relic. And this is why I say he's playing 8 sources. Or a lot of graveyard hate. Just because I'm seeing a relic now. We're land heavy, but we got Tar Pit, which is nice. The Snapcaster Mage is not cool here. We don't really care that it's here, but it's not what we want. We'd want a counterspell or something. Even removal would be better than this thing. So we got Tar Pit. We're going to lead with that. We're obviously going to draw as well. And double Bowmaster. So if he starts drawing cards like off this, he's going to get punished pretty heavily, pretty quickly too. So change of plans completely is we got Sleepy. And we're going to play Sleepy immediately. And we go ahead and he's probably playing Pithing Needle as well at some point, somewhere in there. They usually play 1 Pithing Needle. So what we go ahead and fetch and we grab an island because we know he's playing mainboard Blood Moon. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We're 1 land away from basically casting everything in our deck. and we're happy about that. So we go ahead and play our other basic. The big thing about this is if he is playing like a Stone Rain effect to take out basics because he is playing solo Blood Moon, that's a bad reason to play this. But, you know, it's not that bad either. So he then plays the Soulless Jailer, which, like, permanents can't come in from the battlefield, and you can't play non-creature spells from exile. So it basically turns off Snapcaster Mage. Which is fine because I'm not happy with Snappy anyway. So we're going to make... So Squee is kind of very similar to the Scourge guy. So we're going to just make him recast Squee for doing normal things. So he's going to end up blocking 1 damage out of this, but we don't care. We don't care about this Jailer. I have nothing in my graveyard, and even if I did have something in my graveyard, he can just get rid of it anyway. So it's kind of graveyard overkill at this point. So we concede to play at the tar pit here. We have nothing to play for 1. He blocks, takes 4. So Squee the Immortal again. And we let it hit. We really don't care about this Jailer. This is really... He's just blocking damage at this point. So we go ahead and we tempo him out again. We make this bigger. So, and then we untap Sleepy. We keep our basics alive in case he does play Blood Moon and we get in a weird position. But that's what we're tapping here because we're playing around Blood Moon. Always playing around Blood Moon. So it can wreck your day. So, and here's our Koth. So we brought in Edicts, so to take care of this. We didn't know what he was going to do, but he chose to go -2, so he's going to add 4 to his mana pool, and play Squee, and then play Claw. So you can't draw cards. If he draws cards, we do damage. So we'll go ahead and make him sack Koth. We get the Pithing Needle. So, like last game, we know that he played Chandra, and we're gonna go ahead and swing. We're gonna swing everything out because we feel like the tempo is more important than keeping these alive, and him having to. And what I mean tempo is, he's going to double block here, so he's only going to take 4 damage, but he's going to have to recast his Squee at the loss of this, and this has already done so much anyway, and it's not really going to do much else. The only way he's going to come back from this is if he Chandras and nukes everything with a board wipe that we've seen. So this is going to come down on Chandra because we've seen it. This is where in game 1, if we wouldn't have seen the Chandra, this is a real hard... Like, this is either on that man land that we saw, or it's on the other land, or it's on one of these relics. One of these graveyard hates, which doesn't really do anything much. It stops him from drawing a card, but with this out, or Mastermind out, we want him to draw cards, so, you know, especially during his turn. So we'll go ahead and put Chandra, which is one of his outs. And the thing about Chandra is it takes care of Sleepy too, so... You know, gets around Ward. So there's Squee, and that's what we want. We want to start removing things and seeing things to where, you know, he has to play our game a little bit. Like he plays that, he bounces to his hand now. Now he has to cast it again. He has to constantly put 3 mana every single turn into this Squee, or to the Scourge. It's when you let them have what they want for nothing. That's when this deck becomes out of control. So we just have to tempo him out. Again, we swing out, he blocks, he Gal Blasts the Bowmasters, and then draws a card. And that's normal. So we have a choice here to play Sleepy or not play Sleepy. I choose to play Sleepy because of the same... It takes so long to get it up. And then we're going to try to borrow her in. And we have nothing to Snapcaster, so Snapcaster's just Ambush Viper at this point. So, and then we have the Duelist as well. So, yep, he bolts Sleepy and Sleepy's gone, which is fine. We're okay with that. So, my other line is to not play Borrower, but to play the Duelist, and then play the Brazen Borrower, because that would have dealt 1 damage to this. And then my whole setup and whole play by doing that is to have this Screaming Tar Pit to be able to swing in and finish the job. So we get a land. It's not exactly what we wanted. So I made a calculated decision. It was either keep up 2 creatures, the Duelist and that, for whatever reason, or to be aggressive and attack in the air for 6 and put him at 1. I felt that if we put his back to the ropes and put him at 1, that there's no way he comes back through all this, even if he has like something in hand to Chandra, board wipe, and take away the Pithing Needle and have some kind of thing. At the end of the day, we untap next turn, we draw whatever we draw, and then we have 2 flash creatures that we do, and then we swing over him. That's my idea here, and what we find out is that it works. That he draws nothing, he's at 1 life, he has nothing to do. So I could also untap Sleepy 2 times next turn and swing with them. There's a plethora of things I can do here. So anyway, that's Skred Red. They're slow. They have to play really, really well and draw really, really well to beat us. We don't necessarily have to have a Bitter Blossom, but Bitter Blossom is one of those matchups where a turn 2 Bitter Blossom pretty much ends up in a game win. But Scourge and Squee are very annoying. They're very tough to deal with. Blocking with a Bowmaster isn't necessarily everybody's first instinct, but it's the right move. It really is. So they're not drawing too many cards, and once you're ahead, it's just constantly making them spend mana, spend their turns doing the thing they don't want to do. But because they do get ahead, they will get ahead. So anyway, that's a review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know. Hit a subscribe in YouTube. Deck list is in the description for Faerie Control. And I'll see you later.